Police Files. Stories from the files of the Moroccan police. Stories we present to you are from the heart of reality. We have deliberately changed the names of individuals and sometimes of places. And if any similarity or correspondence in names or events occurs, it is purely coincidental, nothing more. Police Files, Solomon's Ring, Part 2. Dean Mustafa Ould El Mokhtar succeeded in convincing his superior of the plan he had devised to get to the bottom of the mystery of the assaults that were taking place in the jurisdiction of the Rabat Security Province. Most of them were snatch and grab thefts, and the victims were elderly people who were assaulted at the end of every month. The meeting that Dean Ben Driss held yesterday with his subordinates carried a strong charge. The next day, the morning wasn't even over when the phone rang in Dean Ould El Mokhtar's office. On the other end of the line was the regional dean, Ben Driss, conveying the governor's delight with the operation he was about to undertake. He informed him that 4 inspectors from the Royal Police Institute had been assigned to his team, including 2 female inspectors who had achieved a high score in wrestling and were to be involved in the plan. Dean Ben Driss concluded his words by ordering the implementation to begin at 2:30 p.m. The plan was ready. The team was provided with radio communication devices and 2 unmarked cars. 2 of the senior inspectors were placed in the queue, taking turns. The 2 young female inspectors were tasked with monitoring those leaving the bank and tailing anyone who might be a target. At 4 in the afternoon, the bank branch closed, and nothing noteworthy had happened. On the 3rd day, Dean Mustafa Ould El Mokhtar received a call from inside the banking institution from one of the 2 inspectors conducting surveillance. The inspector's attention had been drawn to the excessive interest a bank employee showed towards an old woman. The employee made a call on her mobile phone as soon as she sent the old woman to the teller. Immediately, Dean Ould El Mokhtar ordered Police Inspector Latifa to monitor the old woman in the black jilbab who was about to leave the bank branch. It seemed she had received a respectable sum of money. Developments unfolded quickly. On the street, a young man in his 20s suddenly appeared, hiding half of his face with a hat. He was tailing the old woman. Inspector Latifa was also walking in the old woman's footsteps, while Inspector Radia received the order to stay ahead of the suspect and await instructions. The young man with the black hat walked behind the old woman. He stopped when she stopped and moved when she resumed her walk. When she left the main street, she headed towards the old Medina. As she advanced towards her destination, the flow of pedestrians dwindled. The moment of the assault was approaching. No sooner had the old woman entered a narrow alley than the 20-something in the black hat attacked her. Under the threat of a weapon, he forced her to hand over her handbag. He took an envelope from it that contained the sum of money she had collected from the bank. When he tried to flee, the two young female police inspectors chased and surrounded him. Inspector Latifa, who excelled in wrestling, managed to immobilize him. He was handcuffed and disarmed of his weapon and the envelope he had snatched from the old woman. On the street, the two unmarked cars were carrying two groups of policemen. In one of them was Dean Mustafa Ould El Mokhtar, who was monitoring the operation moment by moment. He quickly joined the two police inspectors. The suspect and the victim were transported to the police station. The perpetrator was found to have a mobile phone. The investigators considered that phone to be a veritable database. They extracted all the numbers the suspect had called, and also the numbers of the phones from which he had received calls. In the course of the investigation, the suspect, who turned out to be named Hassan Ben Mahmoud, said that he had seen the old woman leaving the bank and had followed her with the intention of robbing her of any money she might be carrying, and that he had acted alone and had no partner in all of this. The perpetrator was taken for investigation, then transported to his residence for a search, where several handbags, mostly belonging to women, were found. Inside them were identity papers and other documents belonging to their owners. When the investigators confronted him with what was discovered in his home, he couldn't hold out and confessed that this was the harvest of a series of thefts he had been committing for more than 2 years. In parallel, the investigators focused on the phone numbers that Hassan Ben Mahmoud had last received. There were 3 phone numbers. 2 of them had called him from inside the banking institution. From the phone of Mrs. Rahma bint Ali, the employee who works at the bank's counter. Dean Ould El Mokhtar had promised the 20-something suspect that his sentence would be reduced in proportion to the concessions he made. So, he admitted that Rama bint Ali, the bank employee, heads a gang of 3 people, and he was one of them. Hassan ben Mahmoud provided information about the gang's operations. Rahma bint Ali was in charge of monitoring bank transfers and stamping them. Whenever she spotted a transfer with a significant amount of money, and it was better if the owner was an elderly man or woman, she would contact a member of the gang who was near the bank. She would provide him with a description of the beneficiary and also the amount of money in their possession. The rest of the story, you know it. Tailing, then the attack, then the theft, then the escape. Din Old El Mokhtar asked the suspect to call Rama bint Ali using his personal phone and to arrange a meeting with her where they would meet to divide what was stolen from the old woman. Rama arrived at the known location at the specified time. No sooner had she taken her seat than the trap snapped shut on her. She was immediately disarmed of her mobile phone. On that day, she had called Hassan ben Mahmoud 3 times. "He's from my family," she said, "and I called him for matters concerning the family." Excellent Officer Mohammed Ben Bouchta was the one who took over the investigation of Rama bint Ali. After she signed the report containing her statements, he informed her that he would accompany her to her house to conduct a routine search to verify what was stated in her testimony. She found she had no choice but to accept. So, he and members of his team accompanied her. She was talking to herself about what awaited her. She was scared, and she couldn't hide her fear. As soon as the team began the search operation, the fruits began to appear one by one. A box was found containing several gold chains, rings, and all of them were for women. Rahma could not provide proof of her ownership in a legitimate way. She broke down, and she could no longer hold herself together. She confessed that she was the leader of a gang of 3: Hassan ben Mahmoud, Rida ben Othman, and Hamid Old El Haddad, also known as El Genta. Here, the investigation ended. It became clear that the gang, led by Rama bint Ali, preyed on its victims from among the elderly, who were cashing their pension benefits, checks, or bank transfers. She was the leader of the gang. In fact, she was the gang's eye inside the bank. Indeed, she was its mastermind. We will see in the next episode that the story of the ring is only just beginning where we left off.